Hey, what's up, Kenny? This is going to be a quick demo video for you for your custom Scrapflex by Nevin Varner over at Space Junk Sabers. I got this done last night, but I finished up with the sound fonts that you sent to me this morning just now. So we can go over this. This was kind of a unique build for me. I did some things on the inside that you'll never see. The handle wasn't quite long enough in here to hold a battery and a speaker, so I went in and on the coupler on the inside, I chopped off with my Dremel about half an inch or so, but you'll never see that unless you take this handle off by these 3 screws, which you shouldn't have to do. I wouldn't recommend it. I made everything accessible from here. This screw right here is holding in one chassis piece. This is a 2-part chassis. So the back piece is completely removable, and I'll show you that in a second. But the second piece that holds your 14 pins and everything, it's about this long from my finger to my finger, and it's held in by this screw right here. So don't mess with that guy. Don't mess with this screw right here. This holds your CCsabers LEDs in there. That holder, that screw holds that in, so leave that alone. This is your blade retention, so this is the one you'll want to mess with. I made sure you had plenty of blade depth, and everything is good there. And then you have a 2-button setup. So right here, the top button is your activation, the bottom is your auxiliary. And when it comes to this plate that's holding in your tactile switches, I did not glue that in or anything. It's a very tight press fit in there. I did that so in case it ever needed to be accessed in the future, you could access it no problem, but it's not coming out on you. At the last minute, I chose not to adhese that down because I liked how tight it fit in there. And then just thinking of any possible maintenance in the future. So that's what you've got on the outside. To get to everything, what you want to do is unscrew this pommel cap right here, just like this. And we're gonna unscrew this guy. This pops out. I'm left-handed, So you got your chassis in here. If you go like this, twice maybe, it pops out enough for you just to grab and pull right out. This is your entire chassis right here. So you've got your Proffie board, easy access to your micro USB. You will have to lift it up to get to your SD card, but it is a snap fit down into the shelf, so you can do that if you want. It says Solo Sabers over here in Arabesh, and then I put Space Junk Sabers over here for Nevin. And then you've got this PCB right here that lines up with your 14 pins in there. You can see from here, I did a little bit of some hand tooling in there to fit that PCB in. It barely fit, so I needed to make sure that that fit in that guy, and that took me quite a while, so I was quite proud of that to get that to fit. And that thing's not moving, and it shouldn't move. We don't want it to. You've got your 28mm speaker here, and then a removable battery. So your spring side is going to be your negative. This is a tight battery fit. I had to shrink this down as much as I could to fit a battery in it. You can snap a battery in. It's very easy to snap it in, but you're going to need a tool to take it out, and I'll show you how to do all of that. You'll notice on the back of your chassis, this last piece of your chassis is recessed, and that's because it needed to be recessed to fit into this guy. You can see that right there, how it goes like that. And then the speaker is into the chassis, so the speaker drum doesn't touch any of these screws or the back of the pommel, and you don't get any sound distortion when everything is locked in place. Because this actually locks into place, it screws in, and it locks the chassis into place, so it makes connection with all those pins. And we'll just go ahead and go over that now. So remember, spring sides are negative for your battery.
You are the one who deserves to be the Dark Lord.
Make sure your battery's all the way in, just like it is right now. You can see it's nice and flush, okay? And then we'll take our saber. It doesn't matter. I gave you motion controls. So it doesn't matter how you put this in, right? You could spin it this way or whatever. I like to put the board facing up just because, I just do it out of habit, but you could put it to the side or whatever you want, as long as this PCB is the one going inside of here. So we're gonna slide that in. If it goes off on you, that's okay. I made this chassis tight. It's a snug fit because I don't want any movement when it contacts those 14 pins. I want everything as straight as it could be. So you put it in here all the way till you get to about right here. And then we're gonna take this guy and put it on. It's gonna slide right over that chassis piece just like I showed you. But you need to lock this all the way down. On the last few threads, you'll feel it getting tight. That's okay, keep going. Those 14 pins are on a spring. Each one of them's on a spring. So this is helping engage all those springs, and you gotta push it forward. Nice sound, and smooth swing, twist off. If we didn't want to use that, we could use the activation button. Auxiliary back here. And then you could just tap this to turn it off. This does take a 1-inch blade. So I got a 1-inch Neopixel blade right here. Just slide it in till you make contact with the pins. I will do that sometimes. I'll turn on the saber as I'm inserting the blade. When the blade lights up, everything's good to go. I'll lock the blade down. Reason I do that is because I've got this PCB held in by one screw, so there's no need to be jamming on this guy. And then once you get about halfway in between the blade socket and the PCB, the blade gets a little tight. So that's just my way of knowing when I hit those pins. And the blade socket is keeping the blade straight, so you're not going to have any damage if you do it that way. But anyway, we got it in, we got it locked down. Hit the auxiliary for blaster deflex. You do have battle mode. So when you hit the saber, it initiates blade lockup. You can see it right here until you pull away from it. Or if we want to swing it on, twist it off. And then to move to the next sound font, we just tap the auxiliary button.
I'm Jolie Bindo.
Nice green blade. I'll just tap the button. Blade lock up.
I am Bastille Sean.
Now you got the stock fonts on here as well, right? So I gave you all the stock fonts just in case you want to cycle through those and see what they do. To get to your soundtracks, what you want to do is just double tap the activation. Whoop. Don't double tap, sorry. I get confused sometimes because I bounce back and forth between CFX and Proffie. On this guy, to get to your sound effects, just hold down your power button for a second and let go. You can turn the saber on while this is playing as well. Just hard to hear it over the hum. And then to turn it off, you do the same thing. Hold it for a second and let go. Just like that.
Smooth, smooth, smooth.
We'll cycle through a few of these.
Team C. Smooth Jedi. Smooth Gray. Smooth Fuzz. Rogue Commander. Team C. Smooth Jedi.
That's the battery meter. So this battery is just over halfway full. That's your battery meter. And then you're back to your original, the soundtracks that I loaded, or the sound fonts that I loaded.
Darth Malak.
This thing is super solid. Just like that. Now we'll take the blade out. So everything's working like it should. And now to take the chassis back out. My blade is tight, and it's airlocked tight, so you might get that little pop, but that's okay. So when taking this guy out, we'll just want to undo this. Because it is a snug fit, you're going to have to gently tap it on your hand like I'll show you. And your motion controls will probably go off because, you know, it just triggers it, but that's okay. It's no biggie. So we got that off. We'll come over here. You want to cup your hand, make sure when you hit this guy, your chassis doesn't go flying, right? One time came out. Motion controls didn't go off. I did bump your sensitivity up a bit, trying to avoid that, so it looks like that worked, so that was good. So now we got the chassis. It's all by itself. We're gonna come up to the positive side, which is by the speaker, and get you a small tool. Pop your battery out like that. It is a tight fit. So that's how you do it. And then when you're done with your chassis, you can just throw it back in your Saber for safekeeping so nothing gets ruined. And we'll put this back on, and that's it. So, you know, that's your Saber. That's all the functionalities. I hope you like the way it came out. If you got any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If not, I'm gonna try to package this up and get it out in the mail to you today. Thanks, man.